MMA Boxing Talk here. This is a UFC 216 prediction video. We're only 2 days away. It's a really big card, um, especially the last three fights of the night. I'm really looking forward to the end of the last quarter of this year. We have some really nice fight cards ahead of us. Of course, in 2 days we have this UFC 216 card. And then next month, November 4th, we have that stacked card in New York. I'm really looking forward to that one. Um, and then, of course, we're probably going to have two really solid cards in December. UFC 218, which is taking place December 2nd. That card, sorry, is really shaping up nicely. Of course, there's Francis Ngannou versus Overeem on that card. We also have Gaethje Alvarez on that card, and also Holloway Edgar. So that card in the beginning of December is going to be sick as well. And I'm more than certain the card at the end of December, December 30th, end of the year card, that's always a solid card. So we have lots of nice, solid pay-per-view events to finish off the year. So I'm excited about that. But let's get into the fights in 2 days. Start off with the main event, Tony Ferguson versus Kevin Lee. I think the fight is going to be very fun and entertaining for the fans. I think it'll be exciting. It could go the distance, but I don't see it going the distance, to be honest. Um, I think, I have to say this, that I think too many people are completely writing off Kevin Lee. He's a great fighter, well-rounded. He's a strong wrestler. He's young. He's hungry. And Tony Ferguson gets hit a lot, and he takes chances, and he's got holes in his game. As much as he's, a savage and really tough to deal with, he's not perfect. He gets hit a lot. We've seen a guy like Lando Venata really hurt Tony to the point where I thought the fight was pretty well over. So, I mean, Tony isn't invincible. So, I mean, I'm really not sure how the fight's going to play out. I think if Tony is going to be obviously at an advantage on the feet, I believe. I believe he definitely has a superior striking. He's got more shot selection. His technique is more crisp. He's got more experience. But Kevin Lee has a lot of power in his hands. He really does. And of course, his wrestling is really strong. And his body locks. Tony does not want to be in a body lock with Kevin Lee. Tony doesn't want to give Kevin Lee his back either in this fight. So I think what would be the game plan is to keep the fight standing. And I think Tony can keep it standing. Now, we have seen Tony Ferguson rock before. But let's not forget, that was against Lando Venata. And they weren't just straight up solid punches that were landing on Tony for him to, for his legs to become like jello. It was a spinning back fist that hit him in the side of the head, which blew his equilibrium. And then he got kicked to the side of the head, which very well could happen in this fight. But I think Kevin Lee has more traditional striking, and he's got a lot of power, like I said. But RDA also had a lot of power, and he cracked Tony. I think he landed like something like 120 significant strikes on Tony, and Tony, just took them all with ease. So I think if Kevin Lee wants to hurt Ferguson on the feet, he's going to have to get creative. He's going to have to do things that he might not normally do. So in that case, I definitely favor Tony on the feet. And we've seen Kevin Lee get hurt. His last fight against the Brazilian there, Francisco Trinaldo. Trinaldo really had him hurt. I think it was the first round. So that could very well happen. And Tony is a finisher. So if Kevin Lee is in trouble and he does get, he's wobbled, Tony could finish the fight early. But I see Kevin Lee weathering a bit of the storm. And I personally think we're going to see Tony Ferguson get a fourth round stoppage. I think it'll be a submission. I'm leaning towards a Darce choke in the fourth round, maybe the fifth round. Um, but I'm giving Kevin Lee the respect that he's going to be able to go a solid 15, 20 minutes with Tony, and that's saying a lot. That would be an impressive. That would be impressive by Kevin Lee if he went 15, 20 minutes and it's back and forth, but he ends up losing in the end. This is a huge step up for Kevin Lee. I think he's worthy for the challenge. I think he definitely has a lot of good attributes, and he can win this fight. There's no doubt about it. He can win this fight, but it's just going to be very difficult. We're going to find out how good Kevin Lee really is and how much dog he really has, and I think he has a lot of dog in him. But I have to favor Tony Ferguson in this fight, and like I said, fourth round, Darce choke submission. That's my prediction. Could very well come in the fifth round or the third, but I'm feeling the fourth, so that's what I'm going to go with. And in the co-main event, we have Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson taking on Ray Borg. This fight was supposed to happen last month, but Ray Borg was ill. He had to pull out of the fight, so they're going to reschedule it. I hope he makes weight. I hope he makes it to the fight healthy, so we can see this fight. Ray Borg, solid fighter, well-rounded. He's a young guy, not a whole lot of experience. He's got a slight chance, but Mighty Mouse is going to win this fight, and I think he's going to stop him as well. I'm thinking a second or third round stoppage for DJ. Mighty Mouse is a perfect fighter. He has no holes. His transitions, his feints, everything he does is flawless, and he flows from one stage to the next very, very seamlessly. He's obviously extremely fast. He makes, he's really fast comparing him to other flyweights, and all the flyweights are fast. So he's just ridiculous speed and quickness. Very great ring generalship. He knows how to control the fight. Loads of experience. He's going for his 11th consecutive title defense. Going to break Anderson Silva's record of 10 defenses. And a lot of people don't give DJ the respect he deserves. People say, well, the division's weak. It's a shallow division. The thing is Anderson Silva also fought. In his time, his division was shallow as well. He took the belt from, I'm drawing a blank here. Rich Franklin. Silva took the belt from Rich Franklin, and then I think a year or two later, he fights Rich Franklin again. Rich Franklin had already climbed up the ladder again. It only took him a year or two. So it was a very weak division, especially in the beginning. So you could say the same about Anderson, and Mighty Mouse is much more well-rounded than Anderson. He's an all-time great. There's no doubt about it. But personally, if he wins on Saturday, I would really like to see him call out Garbrandt Dillashaw winner. That would be amazing. I want to see Mighty Mouse really test himself. But I will say one thing. Henry Cejudo versus Sergio Pettis. I believe it's in the works. It's going to be... It might already be official. I'm not sure. But it will be official before long. I'm pretty sure. And that's an interesting fight. Both guys looked amazing in their last performances. I think if a guy like Sergio Pettis, if Sergio Pettis can get past Cejudo, I could very well see Mighty Mouse fighting Cejudo before he moves up to 135. But I really do want to see him move up and really test himself, because he's one of the greatest of all time. So that's something I really want to see. I really want to see him test himself in there. And I personally favor him over Dominic Cruz at this point. When they first fought, I think it was like 6 years ago. Mighty Mouse has improved so much in the last 6 years. It's mind blowing. He doesn't even look like the same fighter out there. So I'd really, but of course he's got to beat Ray Borg, which I believe he will. And then of course, before the co-main event, we have a heavyweight matchup, solid heavyweight matchup between Fabricio Werdum and Derek Lewis. I keep going back and forth with these guys, who's going to win. I got to favor Fabricio Werdum. I know he's been knocked out before, but he's the more well-rounded fighter. He's the better technical striker. He's got way more experience. On the mat, it's not even close. So, I mean, Werdum has a lot of ways to win, but Derek Lewis has that, that power that can shut your lights out. So that'll make for an interesting fight. But I do favor Werdum to win a 3-round decision. That's just how I see it. But anyway, I just wanted to give my take on this this card going down Saturday. Really pumped for this one. And like I said in the beginning of the video, 2017 has lots of nice big pay-per-view cards ahead. So lots to look forward to. That's it for this one. If you liked the video, subscribe. Check me out on Twitter at MMABoxingTalk1. Peace.